Heya Hey! Welcome puppers and puppettes to another art video. As the title implies, I believe my art sucks. Well, not completely, but as most of us do, I tend to lack confidence in my art, and I'm aware that it is lacking in some areas. If you've watched my first video, the Dawnbringer Saraka Speed Paint, you've heard me mention that my artwork tends to be dull and bland. Obviously, it needs some work, and I'm working on it. After talking to some friends and asking for their advice, they suggested I work on values and grayscale. And that gave me an idea. I decided that I will be making a series on art fundamentals in order to review the basics and hopefully improve the quality of my art. Who knows? Maybe we can both learn something in the process and get closer to our artistic goals. If this type of content is interesting and useful to you guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, don't forget the bell icon. We don't want you missing out on some great content in the future. As you may already know, I have a thing for portraits and absolutely love drawing faces and designing characters. So, for the sake of this video, I will be drawing a portrait from reference and concentrate mostly on the values, drawing only in black and white. This is only one of the many exercises I should do in order to improve my art. In a future video, we will research, study, and practice working with values, but for today, let's keep it simple. Also, on a side note, even though I adore portraits, there is obviously no improvement without a few challenges here and there. I'm aware that portraits are my comfort zone. That is why, in the future, I will try to push myself to draw different things and maybe experiment with my art style as I go. But for today, let's start with this grayscale portrait. Let's start with finding a reference. Before starting any drawing, especially when it's a study, I like to look at references as I draw. This exercise, working on values, is all about following a reference image and drawing what we see. So make sure to choose the right reference before starting. Today, we will be drawing a beautiful Asian woman, a reference image I found on Pinterest. Once you've found a reference, open your drawing program. Here, I'm using Clip Studio Paint. Make sure to place your reference image in a way that you can always look at it while drawing. Before starting to place the main features on the canvas, I like using the bucket tool to fill the background with a midtone. Having a midtone makes it easier for us in the future to add shadows and lights. Take note that when I do a grayscale like this, I try not to use any pure black or whites, only shades of neutral grays. Also, I just wanted to mention that this exercise is all about values and grayscale, and not about having a picture-perfect black and white illustration of my reference. So it's okay if you modify the style a little. Obviously, I'm not going for realism today, but more for my typical semi-realistic style. Who knows, maybe in the future we'll try to do a picture-perfect illustration, but for today, that's not the goal. For the illustration, I start by sketching the main features on the canvas using a dark gray. Once I believe everything is placed correctly, I create a new layer and make a cleaner sketch on top. I also start adding lights and shadows, always looking at the reference image as I go. When analyzing the reference image, I notice that the light seems to come from the front right. Just like traditional art, I try to go light with the shading, adding layer and layer of dark grays until I feel like I'm on the right track. Once all the basic components are placed, the features and light and shadows, I try to push it even further. This is one thing my friends mentioned. They said that if I took my finished artwork and made it black and white, I'd notice how fade and soft everything is. Basically, the values weren't pushed enough and that would create a finished product that lacked contrast. So for this exercise, I'll push the values by creating a wider difference between the darker grays and lighter ones. So, if we look back at our reference, we notice that the darkest areas would be the hair and the pupils. Then, it would be the lips with a lighter gray, and finishing with the lightest of areas, the skin. To make sure I don't go overboard with the lights and shadows, I try to add layer on top of layer to reach the perfect tone, just like you would with traditional art. I also use the blending tool to remove those rough edges and make everything look soft and smooth. I feel like what we see right now is where I would usually stop. And as you may notice, the face looks dull and bland. The eyes don't pop as they should. So I don't give up and push it even more by adding even darker tones of gray. You should be able to notice a difference once the darker grays are placed. Look how those eyes pop! When I look back at this exercise and at the recording, I do believe I have improved by doing this exercise. But I also believe that I need more practice and will definitely be redoing this exercise on my free time. It'll be so much fun to reproduce some Pinterest portraits, yeah! I really hope that those of you that draw try this exercise. And if you do, I'll create a hashtag on social media so you can share it with me. And maybe in the future we can make videos about what you guys share. And we can make content out of it and share it with everyone. And it could be so cool. Let's have fun with this. Yeah. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. I'm sorry it took such a long time for me to upload. I guess I'm still trying to get the hang of all this YouTube stuff. And as you guys probably relate, motivation is not always easy to come by. Just know that your likes and comments help me more than you think. And I love each and every one of you. So keep up the hard work, keep smiling, and most of all, stay hydrated, kids.